Alrighty, I like to get right to it. There's a couple things that I wanted to talk about in this video. The first thing is how to set up your favorite tools. The second thing is how to set up sessions on the chart. The third thing is how to use the correct lot size for gold. The fourth thing is trading during news. And the fifth thing is trading like a pro. The example I'll be using for this day is September 25th, 2023. And yeah, I like to get right to it. So the first thing is how to set up your favorite tools. The favorite tools is this little guy right here. It's this little white bar. You can move it around. If you drag it around, you can move it anywhere on the screen. And it's basically really good to use when you need to access one of your tools very quickly instead of having to go over here and search for it. So in able to get your bar to look like this, you basically just go right over here to your left side, and then you can click the little arrow for the first one, and then you'll see that I have the trend line and the horizontal ray starred. So if you star it and you unstar it, you see that it disappears. You star it, it pops back up, right? The only tools that I really use is the horizontal ray, the trend line, the short position, and the long position. And I hardly use the trend line. I only use it on a higher time frame, really, when I want to see a bigger move happen. But yeah, so if you go down to the fourth one and you click the little arrow, you'll see the long position and the short position, and I have those two starred, obviously, because those let me know my position. So moving on, the second thing is how to set up your sessions on the chart. It's also pretty simple. You just go right up here to your indicators, you click on indicators, and then you click on, or you'll type in your search bar, sessions on chart. I already have it starred here for easy access, but you type in sessions on chart, you'll look up by the one, or you'll use the one by AUROX_AIF. It has 6810 users right now. I'm not sure if that number is going to be higher or lower when you look for it, but this is the one that I use basically. So I've always used this one. This is the one I was referred to, and I've just been using it ever since. So sessions on chart by AUROX_AIF. And yeah, moving on. So you'll click it, it'll pop up on the screen. It's not going to look like this. Clearly, right, I have my settings set. So basically, if you want to go up here to where it says settings right under the title of the pair, and you'll double click it, and then this will pop up, right? So you'll go to inputs basically, and I know mine looks a little crazy, but basically I have these numbers set to tell me exactly how I want my method to work basically. So I use my blue zone, which is set to let me know when I need to be prepared for the market to be opening, when I'm doing back testing, and then I use my green zone to let me know exactly when I should be looking for my trade. And then I use my red zone that follows my green zone to let me know when my trade is becoming more risky if I haven't taken it already, and I should lower my lot size, or I should just not look for the trade anymore, and then I clearly don't trade on my black side. On the black side, we don't trade that, and the blue side, so we don't trade anything in the blue or the black. So I have my time set up here. I have these checked, the London, the New York, the Tokyo, even though we're really just trading the New York session. And then, yeah, so you can screenshot this. You can set it up just like this. I am using the Los Angeles time zone. That is where I'm located. So I'm using the Los Angeles time zone. Yeah, and so these times work towards that. So click OK, or actually, we need to show more. The style, the background color, right, I have for green, red, and blue. Those are the only three that you need to have checked. And then you can set your own colors, right? The green zone is here. The red zone will follow my green zone. And then this blue zone, which I have right here. And there's nothing else other than these ones on the bottom, but I don't touch those. So I believe those were already checked, so you don't have to worry about those. And then for visibility, you don't have to worry about anything. So main thing is the input. You can screenshot this and then just hit OK. So then your chart should look something like this, especially if you have the same time zone that I have it set to, and then it'll show right here at 6, right at the bottom, or put it right here, right? That 6 is actually 6 a.m. here, so it's directly on point. Everything is perfectly lined up. So that's sessions on the chart. Moving on to the next thing, how to use the correct lot size. So here, if you click on any one of your short or long positions, right, I'll just click on it, right, and I'll go like this and just go like that. So if we look here, this will tell me my exact lot size that I need right here, where it says QTY, where quantity for 117, right? So if I had a position right here, my lot size, I'll just move it 2 decimal places to the left. So my lot size, where I'm entering in my trade, will be 1.17, right? Very simple, guys. And able to have this set up properly, all you need to do is just double click it, right? And then boom, you have your, and this will be the same thing for the short position too. So you only need to edit on one of them, and then every time you click it to have it on the screen, it should already be automatically set up to your settings. So account size, right? You would put in your account size, $100, $1,000, $100,000, right? So I have it set to 50,000. I have the lot size will always be 1, and the risk is 1%. So I'm only willing to risk 1% in both directions, right? So now that will tell me where my entry is, which is the middle line. It'll tell me my profit level, which is the target level that I'm aiming for to collect my profits, which is 1934.11, and then it'll tell me my stop level where it shouldn't go anywhere past this number 1924.54, so you won't lose more than your 1% basically. So both ways it goes 1%, and it tells you exactly everything you need right here. So if you want to enter it in your MetaTrader 4, you would just enter in the take profit, the 1934.11, and you enter in the stop loss, the 1924.54. Boom, 1%. You shouldn't be risking any more than what you have set in this box right here. So yeah, so you hit OK, boom. So I know that for whatever this trade will be, I know my lot size will be 2 decimal places to the left, which will now be 1.17. So we can go ahead and delete that, and I can show you now on a live example basically, right? So we have Monday going on here, right? And we are waiting for a break, so we have a break here. So we would use our short position, boom, just like that. This will go above our previous zone, and we would set it always to a 1-to-1. So you notice how I always set the stop loss first. Always set the stop loss first, because that's going to let you know what your lot size will be. Your lot size is always determined off of your stop loss, right? So no matter where I move the take profit, you see the quantity, right, 85, it will not change. But as soon as I move the stop loss, right, it'll change, because that determines how much you're willing to lose for the trade. That is only going to be up to 1% for me, right, because I have it set to 1%. So for here, it says quantity is, well, let's make sure that this is a 1-to-1 so I can, right, so we have a 1-to-1, always set it to a 1-to-1, and I know my lot size will be 0.80, right, because the quantity is 80, so I move the decimal places 2 to the left. My lot size is 0.80. I know when I hit this buy button, I'm only risking 1% of my account if I was to lose it. Boom. And as simple as that. So we let the trade go, and boom, nice clear. So it hits your TP1, and now I want to talk about how you can hit your TP2, right? So if you take 2 positions, your first position just hit TP1, right? And so that trade position is closed. Now for the second position, you would bring this down to a take profit 2. And how do I know it's take profit 2? Because the risk reward ratio would now say 2, just like that, right? 2. And make it perfect. Let's see, there we go, 2, right? So I know now the trade is at 1-to-2, and the trade, nothing changed other than the ratio, right? So we're going to go ahead and for the stop loss, bring it down to a break even, right? So for that second position, if it was to come back and break out of the stop loss or break out of the zone, it will close directly at $0, and you would have just collected your 1% or your 10% or whatever you had traded for right here and called it a day, right? And so at this point, this trade is risk-free, and you've already collected your money for the day. And now, say for me, right, I made my 1%. Now, if the second trade closes down here, I've made 3% for the day, right? So we can go ahead and play it and see how it goes. And sometimes it could take a while, but it's okay because we're patient traders. It doesn't matter to us. It is a risk-free trade, and if it really does go in our direction, then we've made more than what we really needed. So let's see if the market gives it. And nice. So it nicely touched it perfectly right here. boom, touched it nicely, and before it spiked back up. But because we aim perfectly for a 1 to 2, we know where our level of what we're reaching for, and we know what we're willing for the market to do. If it was to retrace, we know that we are only willing to lose basically what we had in that trade. So we already made our money in the first trade, and if the second trade was to reverse, we knew that if it came to the stop, the break-even line, it would just close at 0 and we would be good. But instead, it continued to go. It took a little while to get there, but we didn't look at the market. We just set it and forget it, and it went there, touched it, closed it, and now I've made 3% for the day. Very simple, guys. It's as simple as that. You want to make sure you always secure your profits with the first trade. I can't stress it enough, because sometimes it'll only hit TP1 and then reverse. And so if that happened, you didn't get any money. You just let it come back and you closed it out. No, so you gotta take at least 2 positions, or lower the lot sizes on those 2 positions, so where both of them add up to 1% or 2% or whatever you're aiming for, and have that second position hold out to see if it can go to another zone, and just set the stop loss to break even. Very simple, guys. So the next thing I'd like to talk about real quick is trading during news. This is very simple. Basically, if you go to Forex Factory, it'll let you know the news, right? I have it set to just USD so I can see the only USD news. And basically, it's pretty much don't take the trade position if it happens directly at news, right? So if the breaking candle happened at 7 a.m., say for here, right, there's a red folder, and the news happened at 7 a.m., I would not be looking for my trade position at 7 a.m. or 6:55 or 7:05, really, right? So 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, and directly on news. I don't like trading directly on news just because it's too risky. Anything can happen. It can spike in one direction and it can just go crazy. So I don't like trading my candle on news. I like trading either 10 to 15 minutes before or 10 to 15 minutes after news, just to let the market do what it needs to do. It's very simple, guys. So basically, the only thing that I'm looking out for is the red and the orange folders. The only thing that I'm concerned about with the yellow folders is if there's multiple yellow folders in the day. So say there's 5:30 a.m. and there's 7 yellow folders, and then at 7 a.m. there's 4 yellow folders, right? So it's like, oh, the yellow folders are not to worry about, but there's a lot of things going on. So you want to pay attention to that. And then, of course, you want to pay attention to your orange and red folders, because those can have more impact on how the market wants to move directly at that time. So that's pretty much it for news. We just don't trade 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, and directly on news. And that's pretty much simple as that. So the last thing I want to talk about is trading like a pro. That's basically me telling you that you need to just really practice your discipline, guys. Really just practice your discipline. It's as simple as like this trade here, right? So a lot of people would have hit the TP1, right, and then seen it was coming up here, and then just close the trade because they're like, oh, the second position, it's trying to come back up, so I'm gonna just close it. And then you missed it trying to go all the way to TP2, so you missed out on all your extra profits because you wouldn't just set the second trade to a break even and then set the take profit to a TP2. So instead, you got nervous when they did all this, or you was impatient and you couldn't wait while this was all happening, and so you just closed it. You missed out, or you was like, oh, this came down and it shot up like this. Let me see if I can buy it back up real quick. And then you try to buy it back up, and then it shoots back down, and then it's just confusing, and then you're losing all the money that you already made, right? So if you want to trade like a pro, guys, you have to practice discipline, right? I just showed you the trade right here. It's as simple as that. I used no indicators, right? It broke the structure in my zone. I entered in the zone and went to my TP1. I set the second trade to a TP2 and the stop loss to a break even. It hit the TP2. I collected 3% in the day. And so on a $50,000 account for 1%, I would have made $1,500 this day, right? So practice discipline, guys. It really would help you, because instead it could have just been 500, but instead with discipline it turned into 1,500. So if you want to trade like a pro, have the setup, trade the setup, be confident in the setup, and don't touch the setup. Let the setup do what it needs to do, because it's not going to go on your time. It's going to go on its own time, okay? So as long as the trade setup is there, you should be fine. So that's all I wanted to get into, guys. I will be having my future videos coming out soon, talking about each week analysis, basically. So at the end of each week, I'll basically go over every trade that I took in that week. They should be super quick, and it's just going to basically just show how I got in the market, how I got out of the market, and how much potentially could have been made during that week. So thanks, guys. Subscribe, like, share, the whole stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.